Another year has passed, and you know what that means? Another sliver of Mass Effect news. If you're unaware, within the Mass Effect fanbase, the 7th of November is referred to as N7 Day, which sort of got adopted by BioWare, and they've used that date reliably since their announcement of a continuation of the Mass Effect series in 2020, to tease whatever that continuation might actually be. I didn't cover this last year because, for once, they didn't actually share anything. And as for why I was late this time, I was busy setting up this new machine. So until I had everything sorted out, I was very limited in what I could actually do. But you know what, I've got to make it seem like I'm not neglecting my Mass Effect viewership if they're still around. So let's jump into what came of this year's 7th of November. Before we do that though, it's likely helpful to acknowledge everything that's come before. So, at the Game Awards in 2020, we got a teaser declaring that the series will continue. It was just a camera zooming through space, where we heard all sorts and saw a destroyed mass relay, among other things, before eventually fixating on an ice planet where we saw an N7 emblem resting in the ice, and Liara to Sony, which was a dead giveaway if you hadn't figured it out already. So since then, we've known something has been in the works for Mass Effect, and that was a departure from the impression the reception to Andromeda gave us. Though prior to that, on the 7th of November 2020, they'd confirmed they were working on something Mass Effect related, alongside announcing Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the trilogy remaster we all got to enjoy. Alongside this confirmation that the next chapter in the Mass Effect universe was in the works at BioWare, we got this image, and when downloaded from the BioWare blog, it would save to the default name of Mudskipper. I'd imagine that's the name of the ship, which is also shown in the trailer in the background of the shot focusing on Liara. A side-by-side comparison confirms this. In 2021, we got this Mass Effect Will Continue poster, which shows a suspiciously Geth-looking crater, and reiteration that BioWare were hard at work at the next adventure in the Mass Effect universe. 2022 is when things got more interesting. We got a couple of pieces of concept art from the next Mass Effect game, which was nice, both of which appear to depict an Ilium-esque cityscape, and to top things off we got this mysterious video which appears to show what appears to be the construction of a mass relay, albeit it seems human-made rather than the mysterious origin aesthetic, but it was rather the audio that people fixated on. And after fans frantically tried to descramble that, the official Mass Effect Twitter account would post the descrambled version.
I can see it. How did we miss this? Exactly. The Council will be furious. Although they should know by now not to underestimate human defiance. Perhaps worse, they must living it.
In it, we can hear Liara communicating with what sounds like a Geth, mentioning the Council being furious about something humanity's done, and they shouldn't underestimate human defiance. It's too vague to comprehensively understand all the ins and outs of that dialogue, but it does appear to allude to something plot. And then, come 2023, things got interesting again, because we would be drip-fed portions of a video that would later be combined and shared as this. It shows somebody walking down a corridor in an N7 jacket. Their identity, however, beyond their attire is obscured by their helmet, though they appear human and female. Along with this, we also got this poster showing the same individual, but more interestingly, down here, we have what appears to be some kind of bar scene. This scene shows various species in the galaxy, but it also shows a species from the Andromeda galaxy, an Angara, interacting with what appears to be a Geth, or at the very least mingling, suggesting this next Mass Effect is set centuries after the trilogy. After all, Andromeda is set 600 years later, and it's here in this new galaxy that we meet the Angara. So if there's some transport link between the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy now, we know it has to be set after the events of Mass Effect Andromeda, unless there's some time travel sciencey stuff. As for N7 Day 2024, it was kinda like that rubbish Christmas where you realised Santa Claus wasn't real. We got this wall of text telling us that they had nothing really to show us this time around, aside from some gear in their newly released Dragon Age The Veilguard. But there was no concept art to analyse, no hidden codes, no videos to observe, nothing really of substance with regards to Mass Effect directly, only the periphery of merch and things like that. And that brings us to N7 Day 2025, in which we got a blog post from the executive producer, Michael Gamble. It reads as follows: Happy N7 Day everyone, you guessed it, I come to you with another blog, but each year that I write these, they are important moments of reflection for me. I get to pause and think about how truly lucky we are to have Mass Effect, and how thankful we are for the community and support we get. We've been through a lot together, and we appreciate you. Like you, we've heard the rumours lately. You've made it clear you care deeply about what's next, so let's start by setting the record straight. The next Mass Effect game is in development, and EA and BioWare remain committed to telling more stories in this universe. The truth is, the last few years have been an incredibly busy time at BioWare, but currently the team is heads down and focused exclusively on Mass Effect. We have a lot of universe to cover, lots of features to build, and lots of romances to figure out. We're excited by what we're building, and we promise you, when we're ready, it'll be a lot of fun to show. Until then, thank you for your patience, because y'all are thirsty for news, and I see you looking for secret meaning in my tweets. Okay, sometimes they have secret meaning. Beyond the next game, there's more to get excited about. I haven't talked about it much, but you might have heard a little something about a TV series. We've been partnering closely with Amazon on it, and we're really excited with what the talented team over there is coming up with. The writer's room is going strong, and we've got a lot figured out for how it fits within the Mass Effect canon, and where it sits in respect to the new game. The show will explore a brand new story within the universe's timeline, and will be set after the original trilogy. It won't be a retread of Commander Shepard's story, because after all, that's your story, isn't it? So that's good news for the Mass Effect TV show that Amazon's working on. Too many adaptations of games try to retread the story told in the game, but fail to realise that the reason that story works is because it's in a game. And the Mass Effect trilogy is one such example of a story that works best in a game, and it would have also been really weird to see how they would adapt a choice-driven narrative. So they've got the right idea here, telling a separate story is certainly the way forwards. That won't, however, insulate the TV show from falling flat if it's not good. They will still have to tactfully navigate lore, but at least with an original story, they won't be stamping on the trilogy's toes repeatedly. As for news concerning the continuation of the Mass Effect games, I guess we got another reiteration that Mass Effect is under development. That's an important one though, because earlier this year, BioWare was subject to layoffs. That, among other factors, had people concerned for the future of BioWare under EA. Beyond that though, this blog post doesn't appear especially news-heavy. However, if you read it, you may notice a few letters here and there are oddly, seemingly incorrectly, italic. One of these can be dismissed as a typo, but this many doesn't seem like one. To further fuel the vindication of wearing a tinfoil hat, at the bottom of this post there's a disclaimer, claiming there is no secret game information to be gleaned by anything I'm saying today, I promise. It's an oddly light-hearted and whimsical thing to be saying, so it's apparent the disclaimer meant the reverse. And there was in fact a hidden message in here. If you take everything in this blog post that's italic, you get URL Mass Effect Krogan N7. The Krogan of course being everybody's favourite species of warmongering tortoise people. But what does that have to do with anything? It seems like a coded message. Fortunately, we didn't have to wait for a Redditor with far too much white monster and free time to get to the bottom of it, because in Classic we don't have as much to share as we would like you to think we do PR fashion. The official Mass Effect Twitter account came out of the woodwork to play up the mystery, with a post saying, "Transmission intercepted, https://www.masseffect.com/error A20N7S12. Now somebody figured out the sneaky code in this, I'm not entirely sure who, or indeed how now you mention it, but it's supposed to lead us to ea.com/games/Mass Effect /411826207, where we are met by this piece of ultra high resolution artwork. It depicts Krogan fighting and is accompanied by the caption Civil War. The Civil War bit is self-explanatory. The Krogan appear to be fighting other Krogan, which is suggested by Michael Gamble's personal Twitter account, and when quizzed on if this was a past or future event, Gamble simply said future, meaning it's most likely something that happens between the events of Mass Effect 3 and the events of this new game, if not during the events of this new game. Beyond that, other than being a cool piece of art, there's really not much else to gauge, but it's something to add to the endless list of Mass Effect teasers we've had over the past 5 years. The mystery, of course, now is how do all these things fit together? Gamble left us with the statement that everything we've seen from all N7 days will connect, and I mean, yeah, you'd hope so, they'll all be part of the same game. I know it's meant to be cryptic and suggestive of a deeper interconnectivity, but to me it just came across as stating the obvious in a rather amusing way. More than anything, I wonder how many more years it'll take before BioWare actually share something that's more worthwhile of public knowledge. It's good fun every year to be slapped with some cryptic message or some piece of concept art or maybe a 30-second video if we're lucky, but at some point surely you've got to have something to showcase, right? This can't just all be damage control for announcing something way too early, which is certainly the case with that Game Awards teaser, where 5 years later, and yet any continuation to the Mass Effect universe feels years away. At least in game form. I hate to be cynical, but it does seem like whatever they're working on at BioWare is still quite a distance from being ready for announcement, never mind release, so we could still have years of being drip-fed what could possibly be non-information, critically deprived of the context that gives it meaning, and the prospect of another 5 years of November the 7th teasers is a bit frustrating, especially when you realise we've been putting up with these teasers for longer than between the release of the first Mass Effect game and the release of the third. The only way you can make that less daunting is to trick yourself into believing they're misdirecting us into thinking they're still years off announcing it, and then they can surprise us. But I have my doubts. So I'm not sure which way to take this tweet. Is it just stating the obvious, or is it a declaration that everything that's been shared with us will actually be relevant to the game, to the point of recognizability? Or could everything you've seen from all N7 days will connect be a hint towards the idea that maybe, one way or another, these annualized teasers might be coming to an end? Otherwise, it is just stating the obvious. Either way, I don't think these teasers have been contemptuous or egotistical or arrogant of BioWare. I think the fact that we are getting teasers is because BioWare does care about the fanbase regarding Mass Effect. But I do think these teasers are a bit of a consequence of announcing something to such a fanbase years and years far too early. And while I'm hopeful this everything will connect tweet implies that we've seen all they're willing to show us before they announce the game, that is very heavy-handed reading between the lines. The only thing you can concretely take away from such a statement is the idea that all the teasers we see have meaning. And it's not uncommon for teasers very early in a development cycle to have absolutely no bearing on the game itself, so at least it's a reassurance that that isn't the case here. Beyond that, how these things connect is obvious, they're all going to be part of the same game. So I can't exactly scramble theories together as to how this and this fits into the same picture, because such a statement is deliberately vague. As things stand anyway, I'm more concerned with how long we'll have to wait until we get a proper announcement, a proper outline of what we can expect from the future of Mass Effect and how it fits into the overall universe in more substantial context. Furthermore, I'd be curious to see how many more years of these teasers we'll have to endure before we get to that point, because as fun as they are, and I won't pretend they aren't fun, they still work you up, they get you hyped about a game that's still years away. That puts a lot of burden of expectation on the game itself to deliver years worth of expectations built on imaginary ideas of how the game might be, but in many cases, because the human imagination is a wild, diverse thing, won't be. And while I get that the core of Mass Effect fans is likely a bit more mature than average, it's still far from ideal to have the best part of a decade's worth of teasers before you have anything more interesting, more engaging to show. Because surely there comes a point where people will either be at the end of their tether, or inversely, they'll have built up an expectation impossible for the actual game to meet. So I guess let me know in the comments how many more years of N7 Day teasers you anticipate, because it'll be interesting to see who gets it right when all's said and done. I suppose roughly 0 to 5 would be rather accurate. I'm going to throw my prediction on another 2, maybe 3, but I'd love to be proven wrong. Anyway, let me know what you think down in the comment section, of course. I'd like to thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends, all that wonderful stuff. It would all be massively appreciated. And with any luck, I'll be seeing you all very soon with another video at some point. But until next time, please take care and goodbye.